Graham, you've been through your first annual general meeting as Rangers Chief Executive. The results of the various resolutions have been made public. We'll come on to them just in a second. First of all, what was your view on the meeting as a whole?
I thought it was a very productive meeting. We had nearly 1,800 shareholders with us in the stadium today, on a bitterly cold day, I have to say. And we had a very good and open debate. And we listened to a lot of the views of the shareholders. And the fans who were represented, who'd obviously come prepared with significant questions and significant issues that they wished to raise to the board, and I'm glad we had the opportunity to do that, to engage with them, to hopefully be able to answer the queries that they had in an open and honest and professional manner. I thought the meeting was productive, and I hope that the shareholder view is also that.
As for the results themselves, they came out about 3:30 this afternoon. What is your take on them, and what do you do now with the board that's in place? We've seen them come out. Everybody who was on the board has been re-elected. The requisitioners were not voted onto the board. You have described that as a clear and decisive mandate.
Yeah, I think it is. What I sought as Chief Executive and what the board sought from the shareholders was that clear mandate based on our plans for the future of the club. What we wanted was the ability to take the club forward from a stable platform in a way that really allows us the time and the space to be able to develop the business. The shareholders have considered the arguments both from the existing board and indeed from the requisitioner group, and they've drawn their conclusion based on those discussions. And I think what we have today is first of all a decisive vote in favour of the board, a decisive vote in favour of myself as Chief Executive and my plans for the club, which I'm absolutely delighted about. And it gives us the platform of stability, allows us to really move forward in the way that's in the best interests of Rangers. The economic climate that we operate in, we know is challenging, and what we needed was the platform of stability for the club to allow us to engage with leading international organisations who want to be associated with a club of this stature. We've now got the platform of stability to allow us to have that engagement. So I'm absolutely delighted.
A number of the shareholders were extremely vocal in their support of some resolutions going through, and maybe their desire to see others not go through. What is your message to people who maybe didn't get what they were looking for from today's meeting?
I think today's meeting gave the shareholders the opportunity to weigh up the resolutions, weigh up the argument, and form a view as to how they saw their investment and how they wanted their club to move forward. What I would say is that today we should view as a watershed moment in the history of Rangers. We've got a clear and decisive vote. We've got a mandate to move forward. And what I would ask is, for anyone who has the best interest of Rangers at heart, to stand behind us, to support us, to engage with us, to give us the opportunity to demonstrate that we can take the club back to where we all aspire it to be.
Stability and success, that was the catchphrase, if you like, which we saw flash up on the stadium screens before the meeting began. How do you go about ensuring that they aren't just buzzwords and that they become something which can be sustained over a long period of time?
Yeah, I think if you listen to shareholder representatives, you listen to some of the fans, one of the key issues that keeps surfacing is a desire for this club to have long-term sustainability. There's been talk in the press about the business teetering on the edges of another administration, which to a supporter and to a fan, is really alarmist. That the possibility that their club, could be once again in financial difficulties. So I think developing a plan, developing a platform to allow us to deliver that long-term financial sustainability is absolutely key, so that this club continues to flourish, for generations to come. So we say stability because we absolutely need to have, the stability in order to allow us to develop and build the business, but the sustainability of the business is fundamental to the long term. I think what we need to do as a board is to develop a short to medium term plan. We've already started work on that in terms of taking us forward where we want to position the club over the coming 3 to 5 years. We've got a very clear idea of where we should be, and in so doing, that gives us the platform to build that sustainability going forward. And what I would seek is the support of the wider fan base, the shareholder group, and anybody who's got the best interest of Rangers at heart to stand with us and help us move it forward.
On the subject of administration, you denied during the meeting that the prospect of a second administration is a prospect as things stand at present. What you were unable to say was the exact position of the club's finances at this moment in time. What assurances can you provide to supporters about the long-term survival of the club and the growth of the club based on current cash levels and possible future investment opportunities as well?
What I would say is that the club has a board who is 100% focused on doing the best thing for Rangers. We know that there are a significant number of challenges ahead of us. We've got a cost base today that's out of alignment with our ability to generate income, and that situation has been significantly impacted by what's perceived externally as boardroom turmoil. It's been very difficult to engage leading commercial organisations to come and support and work with us when all they're reading in the newspapers is boardroom turmoil and unrest. We've now got a platform for stability. So I think in terms of our ability to be able to develop a medium-term business plan, manage the business in the right way, focus on the cost base right across the organisation, look at how we can grow our commercial revenues in order to grow the top line. The more we grow the commercial revenues, the more headroom we've got versus our cost base. But we're absolutely focused on doing the right thing for the club and developing a sustainable business model that anybody would look in from the outside and realise, the short to medium term viability of the club is being well looked after.
You've touched on engagement 2 or 3 times, and fan engagement is something that I think there was a concession from the board that fan engagement hasn't been what it should have been in the last while, and it needs to be better than it is at present. How do you go about doing that?
I think we need to step back first of all and look at the current setup, look at how we are engaging with the wider supporter base today, and I mean every match day attendee, everybody who is a fan and a supporter of the club, nationally and internationally. We have 45,000 people turning up at Ibrox every other weekend. How are we engaging with all of those 45,000? What's important to them? So I think what I would like to be doing is taking the opportunity to take a step back, look at what we're currently doing, and then seek to develop a way that we can broaden that engagement. We can give the fans an effective voice. We can have a process where the club and the fans can effectively engage together, and we can identify what are the significant issues that matter to the fans. Some of the conversations that I've had in the month that I've been here, the fans are concerned with the long-term financial viability of their club. They're concerned about professional management and standards. They want to see their club run in the way that the traditional Rangers business was, with the values of integrity, professionalism, and I absolutely endorse those.
You've outlined a 120-day strategy to do a number of things, and fan engagement is obviously part of that. Along with that, there are other things such as a detailed business review, developing a football player asset strategy, also refocusing Rangers' commercial growth agenda. 4 months from now, where do you hope that 120-day period has taken you?
I think it should have taken us through a complete review of the business in terms of identifying A, what we've currently got, but probably B, more importantly, what do we need for the next phase of the development of the club. We will have put together a long-term business plan in terms of identifying how we actually take ourselves from where we are now to back to competing at the top levels of domestic football, and we will have the club positioned very strongly for future development and success.
In taking Rangers forward, the belief that one area where you can do that in particular and where you can prosper is youth development, and clearly we've seen strides taken in the last 18 months or so in that respect. Looking at the track record in the bigger picture at the academy at Murray Park and the players it has produced over the years, everything that surrounds that as well, it would appear that the building blocks to keep driving forward and keep building are pretty much already in place.
I think absolutely. If you look at the club's track record over the past decade in terms of bringing talent through the academy, the youth system to playing in the first team, it's a track record the club can be proud of. I said earlier today that if you look across the last 12 months, 11 players have come through the academy to now feature in Rangers' first team. Now, part of that has been opportunity created by playing in the lower leagues, which in turn has allowed that opportunity for these young lads to come through. But they're given the opportunity. They then need to take that opportunity and demonstrate that they're good enough, to play for Rangers. And I think the manager is very comfortable, with several of the you know, the young talent that he's brought through, given that opportunity. I think it's an absolute cornerstone, you know, for us going forward. Our ability to first of all identify that young talent, then coach and develop it, bring it through, and give it the opportunity to play in the first team.
You touched on the manager. He's somebody who buys into the need for youth development as well. The fans sometimes don't think that's the case, but as you say, and as he said earlier on, 11 players since the start of last season have had first team debuts who have been young players that have come through at Murray Park. How important is it for you to work with Alistair McCoist in terms of implementing everything that you want to implement, not just in this 120-day period, but clearly over the bigger picture beyond that as well?
It's, you know, in any football club, the relationship between the chief executive and the football manager, you know, is a fundamental one. I think we've got the semblance of a very good, you know, working relationship. We share a lot of similar ideas, you know, particularly around youth development and the part that can play in the future evolution. You know, obviously the manager is, you know, he's under pressure every week because the fans expect the team to win. You know, and it's a nice healthy pressure, you know, to be under. And I think the relationship that we will have together will hopefully allow us to you know, to address the issues in terms of, you know, football structure, football development, with one eye very firmly on our ability to continue winning football matches, take the club back to where we all aspire it to be and expect it to be, and you know, we've started to develop a really effective working relationship so far.
You touched on season ticket holders this season, and the manager spoke about over the last 2 seasons, 72,000 season tickets have been sold at Rangers. How important, as far as you and the board are concerned, is it that fans in that respect continue to get behind the club? As we touched on earlier, that there are some things which happen today they might be happy with, others they might not. The long-term development and growth of the club is essentially very, very important to everybody, and getting season tickets and investing in the club in that sense is something which clearly everybody is keen to see them do. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, the fans are the club, you know, and let's not pretend it's any different. You know, what we are trying to do, you know, from the boardroom and from my position, is develop a club that the fans can be proud of, that the fans, you know, they want to turn up and see, you know, a quality team on the park. But what we need to do is to understand how we can effectively engage, you know, with the wider fan base in a better fashion. It's absolutely critical to the long-term financial stability of the club that the fans continue to support the club in the manner that they have done. They've been absolutely magnificent in the past couple of years, you know, and if you look at it, you know, as a Rangers supporter, you know, the ability to back your club, to support your club, particularly through the really tough times this club has been through in the last couple of years, you know, the performance that the supporters have put in has been absolutely magnificent, and you know, we look for that to continue. You know, I ask for them to, you know, to support the management team, support the board as we take the club forward. You know, we're 100% focused on doing the best thing for their club.
As you look forward and as you look to drive forward as a club as well, can you realistically say, do you think that you don't just hope a line has been drawn in the sand, but you believe a line has been both drawn in the sand and that you can move forward and this club can grow again now?
I feel very confident that we can take the club forward and we can build and grow. Absolutely. I think today's AGM will go down in club history as a defining moment. There have been a lot of arguments, a lot of debate over recent weeks and months with various competing entities, you know, positioning themselves and making arguments as to why they should or should not be involved, you know, in the running of the club. The shareholders have had the opportunity to consider all of those arguments, you know, and have delivered a resounding vote of confidence in the board and in myself as chief executive, which I'm delighted for. What we've now got to do is move that forward, you know, from a platform of stability, earn the trust of the supporter base and the fan base, that they can look at the way we are stewarding and managing their club and be proud and be happy with how we're doing that. And I really think, you know, today is a defining moment, and I would really encourage anybody who has got the best interest of Rangers at heart, you know, engage with us, support us, allow us to get on with the job in hand. We've got a big challenge in front of us, and we need your support in order to do it.